Hello everyone, this is PotatoLegion here. I hope you are keeping very well. I'm about to go over the short version of the developer notes and then go over the long version, so you guys can either have a short video or a long video depending on what you want. At the end as well, there will be a trailer for the new killer that's coming out next week in the PTB, which I will also cover. So this is the short version. Red Forest is getting a new update with some new looking map, just like all the other map rehauls. Looks very nice from what we can see. There's a new feature being added that prevents you from having multiple maps over and over again. So you won't need to bring offerings to avoid going to a certain map. So for example, if you're sent to Cowshed, you won't be getting sent to Cowshed again the next game. This might make queue times a bit longer though. They're improving the bots with a load of lists here. Eruption has a huge nerf. It will now only lose 10% of the generator's current progress when you kick it, and the incapacitated effect is now gone. So that's no longer a thing, but instead the survivors will scream when you down another survivor instead of them not being able to work on the gen. So Eruption got a huge nerf. Any Means got a huge buff. You can now reset pallets non-stop. There's no longer a cooldown on being able to pick up pallets. So if you're a killer, make sure you break those pallets. There's new outfits for Hattie as well, which are here. You lot have been asking for Hattie outfits, and Behavior have listened, which is great. Nice to see some Hattie outfits. And they have made better updates on cheating and dealing with cheaters, like they mention in every update ever. Now, if you have just gone over the short version, this is the long version. So over the past few years, various realms have gradually received facelifts in the realm beyond. So they've gone back to older maps, for example, Red Forest. And these are the aesthetics for Red Forest. And honestly, they look really, really good. Massive improvement. Behavior needs to hurry up and do Swamp next, I think. Everyone can agree. Now, let's read a bit more on the map repeat prevention, what we didn't do in the shorter version. So speaking of many maps, many of you can probably single out a favorite, a map that you've always excited to see. But with so many maps to choose from, you probably don't want to play the same map several times in a row, even if it happens to be your favorite. Variety is the spice of life, and variety in Dead by Daylight is no exception. This new feature eliminates the possibility of playing the same map twice, so long as a map offering is not used. The same goes for any other players in your trial. If each person played a different map in their last match, none of those maps will be chosen. Furthermore, the chance for these maps to be chosen will also be reduced for the next few matches, steadily returning to their usual odds. We hope to enjoy seeing a wider variety of maps you play. My only concern with this is queue times, because imagine Dwight went to a certain map and then Meg did, blah, 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 and the killer did. It might take a while to pair them up, I'm not sure. Or it will just ignore the map. Maybe it won't affect queue times. What the hell do I know? Bot loadouts and improvements. So I'm just going to read through the improvements that they've mentioned here. So improved navigation in some areas, preventing bots from getting stuck in some places or attempting to loop something they shouldn't, a Z wall, which they're very common on doing. Bots are now more bold when it comes to unhooking their fellow survivors. Though they prefer to go for the save when it's safe, they will now attempt an unsafe rescue as a last resort. Bots will now actively attempt to seek out totems when using totem hunting perks such as Small Game or Counterforce. Bots will now react to some audio cues, the Rave Spell. Previously, they would only respond to the Terror Radius. Bots have learned to better respond to certain killer powers. For example, they will now crouch near the Haps Trags and disarm bear traps. Bots will now attempt to break line of sight in a loop while a ranged killer is aiming at them, and many, many more. Bots are no means meant to replace a real person, but we hope these improvements will make them slightly more realistic practice buddy. So basically, everyone that's watching this video, these bots are now better than you. Perk changes. So obviously we just mentioned Eruption, so I just want to go over it in more detail. So obviously they start off by saying that everyone has been complaining about Eruption, which is fair. Eruption is very strong. So first, Eruption will now cause a generator to lose 10% of its current progress, not total. This means that the effect will be less severe on generators with less progress, but more impactful on generators that are nearly completed. Second, Eruption will no longer apply the incapacitated effect to survivors who were repairing the generator when it exploded. Instead, survivors who are actively working on the generator will scream and reveal their aura to the killer for 10 seconds. Not only will this make the perk less frustrating for solo players, but it will also give the killer crucial information on the other survivors' whereabouts so they can attempt to interrupt them. We hope you'll find this new version of Eruption to be much more comparable to the other generator-related perks. Now, any means necessary. They basically explain why no one's really had any issue with any means, and the only issue was the cooldown. So, to give this perk a slight boost, we've removed its cooldown entirely. Survivors running this perk can now reset a dropped yet unbroken pallet whenever they have the chance. Killers want to keep an eye out for pallets mysteriously resetting and be extra vigilant when it comes to breaking them. And then the new stuff about Hattie. So we know she's getting some outfits here. These are the ones that are coming in the future design for Hattie. And then the update on cheating, which I'll actually read properly. Wrapping things up, we have a quick update on our ongoing plans to combat cheating. Not only have we continued to detect and patch out various cheats since our last update, but we've also expanded our team. We recently welcomed a new team lead to our growing security team who will help coordinate our efforts moving forward. And with that, we've once reached the end of a developer update. Most of the changes we've talked about today will be available to try during the public test build next week. As always, we'll keep a watchful eye out for your feedback once you've had the chance to try them out. Now, for me, the music sounds kind of like Terminator in a sense, but the fact that they're lighting up a skull makes me think that they're doing gadgets to maybe body parts or some sort of trapper kind of killer. The fact it says Tools of Torment makes me think they have something to do with weapons. I don't think it's a licensed chapter. Maybe. I don't want to quote or say anything, but we won't know till we know. Well, I mean, it's a human skull. It's not a robot skull. Could be a cyborg.
私の名は吉良義景、年齢33歳。自宅は森王町北東部の別荘地帯にあり、結婚はしていない。